having that sense that you're not in complete alignment. You're living one way, in one space, and another outside of that. And I just wanted to have a better relationship with my parents because, just hiding yourself doesn't work in the long run.
I don't like to argue, so I say nothing and fume for days.
How do I set boundaries without sounding like a jerk?
I hate the idea that I might accidentally offend somebody, so sometimes I'd just rather say nothing at all.
Welcome to the Language Alchemy Podcast, and thank you for joining me today. This is your host, Alejandra Siroca, a transformative communication teacher and coach devoted to helping you have more peace and more harmony in all your relationships. Today, I have a treat for you. I'm interviewing my dear communication student and coaching client, Britt Bierly. In our conversation, we are going to talk about growing in confidence, coming out, and much, much more. Hi, Britt, and thank you so much for saying yes to being a guest at the Language Alchemy Podcast.
Hello, and thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
We have been working for I think it's been 2 years, right?
A little bit more, yeah.
A little bit more, yeah. And would you like to start by telling us why you came to Language Alchemy or how you came to Language Alchemy? You get to decide.
A little bit of both of those, actually. Yes, about that time, we were right in the middle of COVID and everything was stressful, and it really highlighted any little thing that was a challenge, could be challenging. Actually, my partner, Shannon, had been recommending that I come see you or talk to you for several years. And it finally got to the point that we had a couple of communication quirks that weren't quite matching up. And I had a habit of getting defensive. And Shannon kind of had some, not quite understanding why I was reacting the way that I was. And so after talking, I decided to initiate a call and start working with you.
I remember that call. And some of the things that you came to me for, do you remember what those were?
Quite a few, or at least several. I needed to work with my communication with Shannon. I was stressed out with work. And I guess eventually that changed to quite a few other goals that I came up with needing to work on, like coming out to my family and work, and it's kind of a long journey.
And it seems like all of these goals, as you were uncovering your communication and learning more about how you wanted to be authentic and confident in your communication, more goals get showing up.
Exactly.
So you mentioned coming out to your family and coming out at work. And tell us a little bit about you. What did that mean to you? And specifically, coming out as what?
I needed to come out as a trans man to my family. I have an awesome relationship with my partner, and they've been really supportive. And I knew that I needed to extend that out to other people. Just having that sense that you're not in complete alignment, you're living one way, in one space, and another outside of that. And I just wanted to have a better relationship with my parents because, just hiding yourself doesn't work in the long run. So I was working with you to kind of come out in parts, because everything's in my life's always kind of connected. I wanted to come out at work, but to do that, I had to come out to my family because people knew each other, and it was important that my parents know before everybody else. So been talking with my manager, which was one of the relationships that's been improved since working with you. And I was fully supported by my manager, and I knew that I could move forward. But to do that, I needed to work on my personal side of it, and came out to my mom in person. And then I talked to my dad because they had just moved to Oklahoma, out of state for a while.
You brought up that you didn't want to hide to your family. You didn't want to hide at work, and living in hiding is painful. And
Yeah.
it sounds like what you wanted was to be authentic and to have a deeper sense of connection, not just with your manager who was supportive of you or your partner who is supportive of you, but also people that you didn't know whether they were going to be supportive of you or not, right?
Yeah, that was the hardest part, was coming out in the areas where I didn't necessarily know how people would react. I mean, I'd been working with the people in my office for 7 years or so at that point, but until you do something, sometimes you just don't know what the result is going to be. And even coming out to my parents, being conservative Christian, and that's how I had been raised. You can hope, but you just don't know until you do it.
Yeah. And at the same time, you knew and you know that there is love in your family, that your parents love you, and you wanted to be authentic with that love.
Very much so.
And so how was it for you? I know that coming out is not easy. That's such an understatement.
It took a lot of planning, and I enlisted my sister to support, because I knew that she was supportive of me, and then kind of had to have that, conversation of, this is what's going on. Then you have to wait. Then you have to listen and see where it goes. And it was just, a lot of tears, a lot of solid intent on my mom communicating her love for me and support, and maybe not initially knowing how to communicate that, but willingness to step up and work on it as much as she could.
And that took so much, not just courage or bravery on your part, but it also took so much love on your part to give everybody the space they needed, to listen to them, to make space for their reaction, for their tears, and all the role playing that we did too.
So much role play.
Yes, we role played reactions, we role played what could happen, we anticipated different things. And right now, how do you feel that you are yourself and you're not in hiding anymore?
I think that created more confidence for me in the long run. Definitely has shifted how I guess, even show up in different spaces. I guess it shows itself the most when I'm at work and when I still having to correct people's using of pronouns for me. And for me, it shows a lot more confidence than I had before. Or even in spaces where I don't have to deal with the history of people knowing me before. It just feels so much better and more authentic. It's not like I'm scared of them finding out anything. It's just they treat me as I see myself, and that's what's important.
What a gift to allow others and to teach others to treat you as you see yourself, to be in your authenticity, to show up as your authentic self, which for you is being a trans man. And there was your manager who was very supportive. And then what were you able to do at work?
At work, since I had so much history with the people that I worked with, I knew that just on the off chance there are some people who reacted negatively, I enlisted the help of my human resources team on top of my manager, and we worked through training, and they went and looked into different programs that we could use for that. So then I got to send out my letter to the office announcing my transition and name change and pronouns. And then HR sent out a follow-up email re-emphasizing my workplace's dedication to diversity and inclusivity and the training for the people at my office.
Wow. And as I recall, at work, they were looking for different trainings. You were consulted every step of the way, correct?
Yeah, they told me where they were looking, and then when they had ideas, they would run them past me so that I had the final say in what I was comfortable with for how everything rolled out. I even saw the email that was sent out. It had to have my approval before it went out to the rest of the office.
I'm really in awe of your bravery, your confidence, and your inner support that you have been cultivating, Britt, in these 2 years to be able to say, yes, this is who I am. This is how I want to be seen because this is who I am. And this is my name. These are my pronouns. And continue even to this day to correct people when they mispronounce you or maybe they make a mistake. Something that I have been appreciating a lot is how you have been doing it, this correction or talking to people with such grace.
I think it's different for everybody, but for me, I guess I can bring the understanding that habits are at least harder to change immediately when it had 8 or plus more years of trying to use a particular pronoun. So my capacity is different than a lot of other people. I've heard different experiences from different people, but also being able to have the people in the office that I'm closer to, that I can have the frank conversations like, hey, anything but that, not that pronoun or not this word. And then being like, hey, do you mind like talking to some of the other people? Or even if a matter was like, you have a problem with anybody, you send them to me. You don't have to deal with it. What's your comfort level? You can take care of it. I'll take care of it. But there's no questions.
So it sounds like also by not hiding and showing up as you are, you have also encouraged others, you've recruited others to support you, and you have also received from others that support, and they are showing up for you.
Definitely here and there. And not universal support, but it's enough.
It's enough. And that's what happens when we are able to show up authentically. There are others who want to support us, and that's enough. There's something that you said, Britt, that you really wanted to make space for your family or for others and listen to others. And I'm wondering, you also took the Choosing True Connection course with me. And I'm wondering if that had anything to do with your capacity to listen to others.
Definitely. I was just re-looking over some of the material. And I can't think of anything in that class that hasn't come up either at work or with my family. Even like, I can't say that I've completely changed my habits, but even the ability to look at the situations and knowing what I'm seeing and kind of pull it apart as opposed to not having any idea what's going on is a big change. It really helps in conversations or in those stressful situations. And if you can just look at it differently in review, it makes a big difference.
It sounds like you have more awareness.
Definitely a lot higher awareness.
And what are some things that you were not able to communicate 2 years ago that for you, yes, not every single habit is going to change so quickly. Like you said, you've had decades of communicating in particular ways. In these last 2 years, what would you say is kind of like a before and an after Britt 2 years ago versus now?
I'd say my listening is better and my ability to like respond and reflect back to people so that they know that I'm listening. It's not just me silently listening. And on good days, I can verbally empathize and not just sound like I'm a robot repeating back what someone's saying. I can actually work with that. And I actually had a conversation, I think last week, with someone that I'm training at work. And it was like a deep personal conversation. I actually felt like I was participating in it as opposed to feeling awkward. I'm not sure what I'm doing in this conversation. I really felt a lot more connected than I would have had having that conversation previously.
Wow. And well, first of all, I'm so proud of you. And I'm also hearing that something that came up in our work together was that you wanted to take more of a leadership role. And you have been training people at work. You have been taking more and more of a leadership role. How has that developed for you?
It's still a work in progress, but I guess that's my reflection on that. Listening to the people at work, it seems like they don't question it as much as like, oh, Britt's leading the training. Okay, Britt's leading the training. Like, who else would do it? This is an obvious choice. And I'm just like, yeah, got it. Yeah, let's just go.
This is an obvious choice. That's beautiful. Is there anything, Britt, that you did a lot of before, maybe like any communication habit that you used to do a lot of before, that now you either don't do it or it's less, and you're noticing the impact of that being less and what that impact is for you?
Yeah, actually, I was just talking about that with my partner, Shannon, as they reflected that I was trying to think of why I started working with you in the first place. I was getting really defensive about things and really reactive in that defensiveness. And they were reflected back that, yeah, it seems a little fuzzy now because it seems so long. It doesn't happen as much. Like there's more connection than defensive and reactivity in our relationship. That's definitely helped a lot.
And I've been honored to watch that in vivo with the two of you. It's been so wonderful. All right. Well, is there anything else that you would like to share, or even a question you want to ask, or anything you would like to say?
I guess reflecting on everything that I've done over the last couple of years, if you're ever questioning yourself about something, just do it. Question after the fact, see how it turns out. It's probably the bigger payoff. Just stop with the questions and then do what you need to do.
So stop questioning yourself. Just do it and try.
Definitely.
Well, thank you so much, Britt. It has been such a deep, deep honor to support you over the last couple of years in your journey of confidence, of authenticity, of coming out as a trans man, as a leader at work, in your community. And I'm very grateful to know you. Thank you.
And I'm so very grateful to know you as well, Alejandra. The best choice I've made in the last 2 years. Just come to see you.
Thank you. I have teary eyes now. Thank you so much, Britt. Thank you so much for listening. Until next week. And as we say in Argentina, if you want to say it with me, ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Original music by Gary LaPau. You can find all links in the show notes at languagealchemy.com.